devastating update on George Strait has just been revealed, leaving fans in absolute shock. The beloved country music legend, known for his timeless hits and iconic performances, is facing a crisis that no one saw coming. What happened to the king of country, and how will this change the future of his music career? Stay tuned as we uncover the shocking details that have left everyone reeling. This is news every fan of George Strait needs to know. George Strait's remarkable legacy in country music is built on decades of success, influence, and a love for his craft that has never wavered. Known as the King of Country, George has not only defined the genre but also set the standard for country music artists worldwide. His career spans over 40 years, a span that saw him not just weather the changing tides of the music industry but shape them with his smooth voice and timeless songs. Strait's story is more than just about chart-topping hits or record-breaking sales. It's about creating a sound that resonates deeply with listeners across generations. George's career took off in the early 1980s, and his unique blend of traditional country, honky-tonk, and western swing quickly made him a household name. His songs, such as Amarillo by Morning and The Chair, became instant classics, showcasing his ability to tell heartfelt stories with simplicity and grace. Over the years, Strait has released more than 30 albums, with each one producing hit after hit. What truly set him apart was his consistency. He wasn't just a flash in the pan. George Strait built a catalog of music that transcends trends, staying relevant in an ever-changing music industry. His 60 #1 singles on the Billboard charts is a testament to his remarkable staying power. No one else in country music history can claim such an accomplishment. His impact on country music goes beyond numbers and accolades. George Strait brought a sense of authenticity and realness to the genre. In an era where many country artists were leaning toward pop influences, Strait remained committed to his roots, delivering songs that felt grounded in tradition. Fans appreciated his ability to stay true to the classic country sound while still embracing modern sensibility. His voice became synonymous with the heart and soul of country music, and his performances were always heartfelt, never forced. It was this connection to his fans that made his concerts so special. His shows were legendary, drawing massive crowds who were eager to hear the man who had been the soundtrack to their lives. But it's not just his musical success that has defined George Strait's legacy. It's his unwavering dedication to his family, faith, and values. Through his incredible success, he has always remained grounded, never letting the trappings of fame define him. He has kept his personal life relatively private, choosing to focus on the things that truly matter: his family, his work ethic, and his charitable endeavors. Strait's influence extends beyond music. He's also known for his philanthropic efforts, particularly in supporting military families and children's charities. His quiet generosity has earned him the respect of not only his peers, but also his fans. In the world of country music, few artists have had the same impact as George Strait. His songs have soundtracked countless lives, and his influence will continue to be felt long after he steps off the stage for the final time. His legacy is one of dedication, authenticity, and a commitment to doing things the right way. As much as his career has been defined by the hits he's delivered, it's also about the way he's lived his life and the example he set for future generations of country artists. George Strait isn't just a legend in country music, he's a symbol of what it means to be a true artist. George Strait's life, much like his music, has been shaped by both triumphs and heartache. But one tragedy stands out as a defining moment in his journey. An event that would forever alter the trajectory of his personal life and his perspective on fame, family, and the world around him. While his career was skyrocketing, George faced a devastating loss that would test his resilience and commitment to his loved ones. This personal tragedy struck the Strait family in 1986, when George's daughter, Jennifer Lynn Strait, was tragically killed in a car accident. Jennifer's death was an unimaginable blow for George and his wife Norma. At just 13 years old, Jennifer's bright, promising future was abruptly taken from them. The loss was not just personal, but public, with the Strait family grieving under the harsh spotlight of fame. The pain of losing a child is something no parent can truly prepare for, and for George, who had spent most of his life in the public eye, this heartbreak became something that defined his approach to life moving forward. The constant media attention and invasive public scrutiny only added to the weight of the tragedy. Jennifer's passing hit George particularly hard. She was the eldest of his children, and as a father, George had always been deeply involved in his children's lives. Jennifer's death forced him to confront the fragility of life and made him realize just how precious and fleeting time with loved ones truly is. But George, ever the quiet and reserved individual, didn't wallow in his grief in front of the public. Instead, he leaned on his family, particularly his wife Norma and his son Bubba. Together, they found a way to cope with the pain, though it never fully went away. In the wake of Jennifer's death, George and Norma found strength in honoring their daughter's memory in a meaningful and positive way. They established the Jennifer Lynn Strait Foundation, a charity that focused on helping children in need. The foundation, which quietly directs donations to children's charities throughout San Antonio, serves as a living memorial to their daughter. By channeling their grief into something constructive, George and Norma not only helped themselves heal, but also helped others who were experiencing similar pain and hardship. This act of resilience became one of the defining moments in George's personal journey. For many, the idea of losing a child would be a source of debilitating grief, but George and his family used their tragedy to inspire others. The foundation stands as a testament to their strength, reminding us all that while life can deal us the harshest blows, there's always a way to honor those we've lost and keep their memory alive. This resilience became a hallmark of George's character, not just as a father, but as a person. The Strait family's ability to endure such heartbreak also played a role in George's music. While many artists may have used their pain as fuel for dark, somber songs, George Strait, known for his ability to deliver timeless country music with a sense of warmth and wisdom, channeled his grief in a different way. His songs, especially in the years following Jennifer's death, carried an undertone of reflection, love, and an understanding of life's fleeting nature. His deep connection to his family, his values, and the people he loved was evident in every note he sang. Despite the deep pain of losing Jennifer, George remained steadfast in his commitment to his family. Over the years, his son Bubba grew up to become an important part of the Strait family's legacy. Bubba, who had a passion for the cowboy lifestyle and rode the professional rodeo circuit as a team roper, carried on the Strait family traditions. In fact, George was so proud of Bubba's accomplishments that in 2006, after catching Bubba in action at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, George rushed backstage to stage his own sold-out show that evening. It was a moment that showcased George's ability to stay grounded and be there for his family, no matter the success he achieved. But it wasn't just George's family life that kept him going after such a tragic loss. It was his faith and the sense of duty that had been instilled in him from an early age. Growing up on a cattle ranch, George learned the importance of hard work and perseverance. He had seen his own father face difficult times, and through it all, his father had maintained a sense of quiet strength. This same strength was evident in George as he dealt with the loss of his daughter. He found solace in his work, his faith, and his ability to provide for and protect his family. The Strait family's resilience wasn't limited to personal loss. It also extended to their sense of duty to others. In 2010, George became a spokesperson for the Wrangler National Patriot Program, a charitable initiative that raises funds and awareness for wounded U.S. troops and their families. George's deep commitment to his country and its heroes became another avenue through which he could channel his pain into something positive. He took it upon himself to give back, knowing how fortunate he was to have the support of his family and his fans. This sense of duty became a central theme in George's life, driving him to help others in need and use his position to make a difference. In 2012, George took on a new role when his son Bubba and his wife Tamara welcomed George Strait's first grandchild, George Harvey Strait III. This moment brought an added sense of joy and hope into the Strait family's life, even as they continued to navigate the challenges brought on by the tragedies they had faced. Being a grandfather was a new chapter in George's life, and he embraced it with the same love and dedication that had defined his relationship with his own children. The birth of his grandson marked a new phase of life for George, one where he could celebrate the joys of family while still honoring the memory of his late daughter Jennifer. The birth of George Strait III was a bittersweet reminder of how far the family had come since the tragedy of 1986. It wasn't just a moment of joy, it was also a moment of reflection. George could now look back on his life with gratitude, knowing that, despite the heartaches, he had built a strong, loving family that would continue to thrive for generations to come. The Strait family's resilience had become a cornerstone of their success, both personally and professionally. Through all the ups and downs, George Strait remained a man of deep faith, family, and love. His ability to navigate the darkest days with grace and strength was something that not only defined him as a father, but also as an artist. His music, grounded in these values, touched millions of lives. The tragic loss of his daughter Jennifer was a defining moment in George's life. But it didn't define him entirely. Instead, it was the way he handled that loss, with resilience, love, and an unwavering commitment to his family, that truly shaped his legacy. As time has gone on, the Strait family's story continues to inspire those who look to them as a model of strength, love, and the enduring power of family. George Strait may be known as the King of Country, but it's his role as a father, husband, and grandfather that truly defines him. His resilience, both in the face of personal tragedy and in his career, continues to be a shining example for others to follow. Through it all, George Strait has shown that while life may bring pain and hardship, it's how we rise above it that truly matters. And for the Strait family, their journey is far from over. George Strait has spent his entire career as a beacon of professionalism, humility, and respect in the country music world. With his iconic sound, magnetic stage presence, and legendary status as the King of Country, he has always been a figure admired by millions. However, even the most beloved public figures are not immune to the harsh realities of fame, and for George Strait, this has meant dealing with false rumors and intense public scrutiny, things that no amount of success or accolades can shield him from. In 2018, a disturbing rumor started circulating on social media that shocked fans across the country. It was a claim that George Strait had been involved in stalking and harassment, with a woman named Emmy Lou Hayes accusing him of these actions. The post quickly gained traction, with many fans expressing disbelief and confusion. George Strait, who had always maintained a clean and dignified public image, was suddenly at the center of a scandal that seemed completely out of character. To many, it was unimaginable that such an accusation could be true. The internet can be a powerful tool for spreading information, but it can also be a dangerous space for rumors to take root. False claims, once posted online, can spread like wildfire, often without any real basis or evidence. In George Strait's case, the claim about stalking and harassment was just that, false. The fact-checking website Snopes quickly took action to investigate the claim, trying to find any evidence of the woman or the allegations she made. After a thorough investigation, Snopes could find no evidence that such a woman existed, nor any truth to the accusations against George. The entire story was fabricated, a hoax created by an anonymous individual with no factual backing. Unfortunately, this incident shows how quickly misinformation can gain a foothold, especially when it involves a celebrity. Even though the rumor was disproven, it still had a significant impact. For fans of George Strait, it was a moment of confusion and distress. How could something like this happen to someone they admired and respected? The news had left many feeling unsettled, but it also served as a reminder of how important it is to verify facts before jumping to conclusions. George Strait's reputation was not only at risk because of the false rumors, but also due to the nature of the accusations. Stalking and harassment are serious allegations, and even the mere mention of them can tarnish a person's image. In the world of celebrity, where everything is under constant scrutiny, a false claim like this can lead to public doubt, regardless of its truth. George's fans, however, were quick to rally behind him, knowing his character and integrity well enough to see through the baseless rumors. The support from his fans helped silence the noise, but it also highlighted the unfairness of the situation. While this particular incident was a hoax, it's important to recognize that public figures like George Strait are constantly subject to scrutiny. Whether it's fabricated rumors, exaggerated stories, or private details about their lives being twisted and distorted, celebrities are under a level of pressure that most people can't even imagine. Every aspect of their personal and professional lives is open to interpretation, and even the smallest mistake or misstep can be magnified. One of the challenges of being a public figure is the constant public scrutiny. For George Strait, this has meant dealing with invasive questions about his personal life, his relationships, and even his career decisions. Fans feel a sense of ownership over celebrities. They follow their lives, their careers, and their personal journeys so closely that it can sometimes feel as though they know them personally. As a result, any deviation from the public persona they've built can lead to speculation and gossip, even if it's not grounded in reality. Throughout his career, George Strait has maintained a quiet, reserved demeanor. He has never been one to court controversy or make waves in the media. His focus has always been on his music, his family, and his fans. But even someone like George, who has spent years keeping his personal life relatively private, cannot escape the attention that comes with being one of the most famous country music stars in history. It's not just about the good times, success, accolades, and fan appreciation. It's also about handling the pressure of being under the public microscope at all times. One of the most difficult aspects of this type of public scrutiny is how it affects the personal lives of celebrities. For George Strait, who has always prioritized family and privacy, the idea of having his personal life exposed and dissected by strangers must have been uncomfortable, to say the least. In a world where celebrities are often expected to share every detail of their lives, George's reserved nature made him somewhat of an anomaly. However, this also made him a target for those who wanted to know more about the man behind the music. While George's fans have remained loyal, there are always those who are eager to point fingers and create drama, especially when it comes to rumors and false claims. In the case of the stalking hoax, it wasn't just about the damage to George's reputation, but also the emotional toll it took on him and his family. It's one thing to deal with rumors about your career or artistic choices, but when those rumors involve serious personal accusations, it can be incredibly damaging to someone's mental and emotional well-being. What makes this situation even more heartbreaking is that, despite the false accusations being disproven, George still had to deal with the fallout. It's a reminder of how quickly rumors can spread and how difficult it is to erase the stain of a scandal, even when it's proven to be false. George Strait, however, remained quiet throughout the entire ordeal, never engaging with the drama or giving any more attention to the situation. This silence, while it may have been frustrating for his fans who wanted to see him defend himself, also reinforced the image of the man he has always been: humble, reserved, and unwilling to engage in public conflict. The lesson in this situation is one that we can all take to heart: the importance of verifying information before believing it, and, perhaps more importantly, the need to treat others with respect and dignity, especially when it comes to our public figures. False rumors can cause immense harm, not only to the individuals involved, but also to their families and their fans. George Strait, despite being at the center of a devastating hoax, emerged from the situation with his reputation largely intact, thanks to the unwavering support of his fans and the truth being revealed. But the entire experience serves as a reminder of the power of social media and the responsibility that comes with sharing information. For George Strait, the false rumors were just another challenge to overcome. But for many of his fans, it was a wake-up call. It reminded them that no one, not even the king of country, is immune to the hurtful effects of unfounded rumors and the public's insatiable need for information. While George Strait's legacy as a country music legend will continue to thrive, the incident also highlights the darker side of fame, how it can be both a blessing and a burden, and how the truth often gets lost in the noise of speculation. But for George Strait, his resilience and dedication to his craft have ensured that his reputation as a beloved figure in country music remains unshaken, even in the face of adversity. George Strait, the king of country, has been a staple in the music industry for decades. With a career that spans over 4 decades, he has become an icon in country music, known for his smooth voice, heartfelt lyrics, and unmistakable charm. His fans adore him, and his legacy is solidified by record-breaking sales, countless awards, and sold-out concerts. But behind the glitz and glamour, there lies a hidden truth: the strain of fame and the toll it has taken on George Strait's personal life and well-being. Fame, as many will tell you, isn't all it's cracked up to be. While it brings recognition, success, and opportunities, it also comes with its own set of pressures that few outsiders ever get to see. For George, this reality began to settle in as his career took off in the 1980s. As a young man from a small town in Texas, Strait never expected to be thrust into the spotlight. He was more accustomed to working on his family's ranch, living a quiet life away from the hustle and bustle of showbiz. Yet when he picked up a guitar and started performing, the country music world took notice. As his fame grew, so did the demands on his time and energy. Touring became a constant, with George traveling around the country, performing night after night. This was the life he had dreamed of, but it came at a cost. Long hours on the road meant that George spent less and less time at home with his family. For a man who valued his privacy and cherished his time with his loved ones, this was a difficult adjustment. While George always maintained that his family came first, the nature of his job made it increasingly harder to keep that balance. One of the most significant impacts of fame was the loss of privacy. As a public figure, George was constantly under the watchful eye of the media and his fans. Wherever he went, whether it was a trip to the grocery store or a dinner out with his family, George was recognized. Fans would approach him for autographs or pictures, and while most were respectful, the constant attention started to wear on him. For someone who preferred a quieter life, it became difficult to simply enjoy everyday moments. The strain of always being on took a toll, especially when George just wanted some peace and time with his family. But perhaps the most painful impact of fame came with the loss of his privacy. As a father and husband, George cherished his role as a family man. He had married his high school sweetheart, Norma, in 1971, and together they raised 2 children. Their son, Bubba, followed in his father's footsteps and developed a love for rodeo and country music. But the tragic death of their daughter, Jennifer, in a car accident in 1986, changed everything. The loss of Jennifer was devastating for the Strait family. It also thrust them further into the spotlight, as the tragedy was covered in the media. George and Norma were suddenly not just a grieving couple, but public figures who had to manage their personal loss under the harsh scrutiny of the public eye. The loss of their daughter led George and Norma to establish the Jennifer Lynn Strait Foundation, which helped children's charities in San Antonio. It was a way for them to honor their daughter's memory and give back to their community. But even with this beautiful tribute, the pain of losing Jennifer never truly went away. George's grief was compounded by the fact that, despite his success and fame, he couldn't shield his family from the public's interest. There were times when the emotional weight of his personal loss seemed too heavy for George to bear, but he kept moving forward, focusing on his music and his role as a father and husband.